I just Troy again. This would be part two of opening the gifts that are you. There's certain things about you that you've realized or you've known that made you thought maybe different or strange or whatever, and it felt strange. You've probably been called strange for it. Certain things that resonate with you that don't with others, but you've always known it to be part of your truth. Um, you're gonna see. You're gonna see now after this conversation. Now this has all been going on already before, but this is gonna bring a certain awareness to you. Um, you've been a lot bigger part of your life than you thought, and you've got some amazing some amazing power, skills, gifts. Now you're going to see things start to, there's no coincidences. There is no coincidences. You have not been a part of a coincidence since you've arriven here, since you were born in the flesh. Um, let's call them, for the sake of this conversation, call them synchronicities, because you're going to start seeing them everywhere. Everything's going to make sense. You start being aware of your thoughts, your intents, your anything that you're emotionally committed to, and your intentions. You're going to see them happen. Anything you visualize, you picture in your mind, and you put heart and intent with it, it's going to happen. It takes place, and it has all your life. But we haven't realized that. We haven't, a lot of people, awoke to it. A lot of people had ideas of it or this or that, or certainly believed it. But now you're going to see it manifest like just huge, huge. But keep in mind also, wherever you put your focus, your energies, right? Whether it's, there's only two ways it goes. There's either fear-based or love-based. And if you put your energies and your visualization on things you don't want to have happen, well, they're going to happen. But it works the other way too. You put it on those things you do want to see, well, they're going to happen. And they always have. All this is going to come completely into view for us. And it's going to be really painful. A lot of this is really painful. Finding out who you are and open up your package. Open up the layers of yourself. It's like an onion. You pull open one or two layers and you think you got it, right? You feel good about that. And it's like, I know who I am. Well, brother, you got 5 more layers to go. It's really painful. It's a hard dig. It really is. But it's the most beautiful thing you've ever experienced. And if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, man, you got something really beautiful and wonderful in front of you. In fact, the greatest thing you've ever experienced. And I'm going to just step off. A lot of you might feel uncomfortable with this, but I'm going to say at that point and at those times where you're experiencing that's walking in the kingdom, where everything's absolutely beautiful and you can see it. It is a difference. And it might be just one little step away from where you're at now. Imagine the dial of a radio. Those of you that are old enough to remember it had a dial, but even the digital ones have a dial. And all you got to turn it is a little bit, and you're on a completely different wavelength, complete different frequency. Well, this is no different if you think about yourself being a transmitter and a receiver, because you really are. In all actuality, if you're talking about electromagnetism, which you are in the flesh, you're an electromagnetic being. You're in the flesh, certainly, but your soul, your spirit, it's energy. It is a wavelength. It is a frequency. when you're operating from the highest frequency, that's love, right? That's love. That's where you see the clearest. That's where you see truth. You can see any man's truth that comes up to you. You can know it. You start plugging in that way. You know when someone's going to call. You know what's coming tomorrow. You know what the weather's like. You know, you're plugged in to the truth, to all truth. And everything's within your grasp when you're in that frequency. But until we've made the complete, the complete transformation, we slip up and go back and forth. Now, most of us that were brought up in the West, we don't know too much about the chakra system because we think it goes against our Christianity and what we've been taught in the church. Well, a lot of those people that taught us in the church didn't know enough about it. What they learned in the East long before the West ever came around, as far as us go. I'm not talking about Native America, anything like that. Those people were plugged in a long time ago. But what I am talking about is, we've been learned to think that stuff's evil and it's of Satan and this and that. No, that's part of the illusion too. And they talk about the 7 chakras of a body, and the lower one, like being your grounding or your sexual organs or whatever. They talk about that being a color red, and there's 7 steps, 7 chakras. Just like in the musical scale, there's 7 steps. 7's a magical number that way. 7 days of the week. There's this whole thing, those of you that got into etymology, you would know about the magic of these numbers and stuff. Or the etymology, that would be the language and stuff. But the numerology, that there's certain things written in code and your whole Bible goes by numbers in that way, and it's mostly parables on it. There's probably more to you that's been hidden from you than it's going to blow your mind when you start uncovering things. A term that so loosely is thrown around in the field of awakening, I guess. And keep in mind, it's not everybody's on the journey. No one's better than anybody else. If someone's 4 steps closer to the top of the hill, they're no better than the one that's a mile behind. So we got to get that out of our heads and keep it out of our heads. We don't do anything that feeds our ego, feeds our self-righteous side, because we're slipping and we're further from the goal then. This is about toughening up, but it's also about being humble. And humble isn't something you can show off to someone. Being humble, this kind of humility hurts. It's a lot of tears. It's a lot of pain. But it's got to be done. You got to find out who you are. And you're not what you tried to be. And you weren't wrong for trying to be it, because it's all you knew. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. You are all powerful, and so beautiful. We've had that kept from us. You're about to come into something that's so wonderful. But remember, until we make the full transformation, it is painful. But you're used to that. You've lived pain all your life. You've hurt, and you hurt. You've been rejected, you've been put down, you've been walked on, you've been cheated, you've been blasphemed, you've been cursed, you've been ripped off, a lot of you have been raped, a lot, you know what I'm saying. So, you can take it. You can take enough to get over this hill, because you're groomed for it. In fact, you're perfectly, exactly, beautifully where you're supposed to be right now. He that made you, he that created, he that loved you and loves you so much, that is part of you, your biggest part. He didn't make any mistakes. has not made a mistake. And neither have you. You really haven't. Start letting go of the shame, the blame, the guilt, all that. Let it go, because it's not who you are, and it's not what you need to wear. That's part of the meat suit garment crap. No, start knowing and finding out your true divinity. You are heir to the highest kingdom that exists. And the dark side of things, they know that. They know that. So they've been on you since you showed up. They knew you were coming before you showed up. And they've been consistently on you, consistently tormenting you, humiliating you beyond humiliation. But look, you're still here. You're still standing. And now you get to find out, hey, this was like, yeah, it's real. And most what you see out there isn't. We've only been able to see like a percentage of 1% of what's going on. If you look at it, the 360 of a whole circle, the 360 degrees, you're really only aware of like less than 1%. If your eyes were open right now to all that's going around you right now, within your reach, I'm talking within your literal reach, it would be more than you can handle. So we're groomed, and it's going to come to you as you're prepared to accept it. You're like, think of it being a cup, like your vessel, right? You're a cup to hold. Well, you can only hold when you have room to hold it. So you get this new information, you chew on it a bit, you make it a part of you, whatever. Then that goes down, it becomes a part of you, and then you can take more. We're only given, remember that saying, you've heard it all your life in church and stuff about, he only gives us what we can handle, you know. I know that's not quote and unquote, but, and that's a fact. But now, haven't you been given as much as you could handle, like many, many, many times? Yeah, and there's still more of it to come. It isn't over yet. But we are at the crossroads right now. And the light of the tunnel is down there. You can see it. It's there. We're so blinded by the light. And it's not the light. It's not that light. Who's the prince of this world? Who's the king of this world? Right. It's the dark side. This is a crappy place right now. And it's gotten worse, and it's getting worse. What's the other scripture you've always heard? I don't care what church you went to or whatever, about you don't take a candle. Who takes a candle and puts it under their bed? You don't. What do you do with the candle? You put it up on top so it lights up. Know this. Even a candle can light up an auditorium where everybody can see. Yeah, it's not going to light it up, but you know what I'm saying. Just a small candle can light up the darkest room. Your gifts that you've had, start focusing on them. Start recalling these. Do some replays of your life. See your darkest moments. See how you came out of them. You're a very, very important and absolutely crucial and critical gear in this mechanism of us. We're all brothers and sisters. We got to power up. We're being called to the floor now. Not tomorrow, not another time, now. And I love you, and I'm with you. I love you. And more than that, he loves you so much. Probably she, but you know what I mean.